Have you ever thought about how one person's betrayal could change the entire course of history? What if Voldemort's rise to power depended not on his own abilities, but on the cowardice of a single wizard? In today's video, you will find out why Peter Pettigrew from Harry Potter became a traitor and what happened to him. Few characters in Harry Potter are as despised as Peter Pettigrew. Unlike other villains who at least had their reasons, however twisted, for choosing the dark side, Peter was different. He started as a friend, as one of the good guys, yet betrayed everyone who trusted him. And his betrayal led to the greatest tragedy of the wizarding world. From the moment he stepped into Hogwarts, something felt off. Gryffindor was the house of bravery, yet Peter was neither brave nor strong. He was weak, always clinging to those more powerful than him. That's how he became part of the Marauders, James Potter, Sirius Black, and Remus Lupin. But was he ever really one of them? James was indifferent to Peter, treating him like a harmless tag-along. Sirius, however, despised him. He mocked him, belittled him, and never saw him as an equal. Peter smiled, laughed along, but deep inside resentment was growing. Resentment that would one day lead to the ultimate betrayal. When Voldemort's war began, the Marauders stood against him. At first, so did Peter. But deep down, he had always craved power. And who could offer more power than the Dark Lord himself? Perhaps it wasn't just fear that made him switch sides. Perhaps after years of being the weakling, Peter finally saw a chance to matter. To prove his loyalty to Voldemort, he did the unthinkable. He became the secret keeper for the Potters' hiding place. Instead of protecting them, he led the Dark Lord straight to them. And just like that, James and Lily Potter were gone. But Peter wasn't finished yet. When Sirius confronted him, he played his final trick, framing Sirius for the betrayal. In a single moment, he killed 12 innocent people, faked his own death, and left Sirius to rot in Azkaban. The perfect crime. For 12 years, he lived in hiding as a rat. Not just figuratively, literally. Disguised as Ron Weasley's pet, he avoided capture, unnoticed and forgotten. But fate had other plans. A single photograph in a newspaper gave him away. Sirius, locked in Azkaban, saw the image and knew the truth. Sirius escaped. He found Peter. And in a tense confrontation, the truth was finally revealed. Yet, in a twist of irony, it was Harry Potter who spared Peter's life. A decision that would later cost the wizarding world dearly. Peter fled once again, but this time he had only one place left to go. He sought out his old master Voldemort. Weak and powerless, the Dark Lord needed Peter just as much as Peter needed him. Together they began the dark ritual that would bring Voldemort back. Peter paid a heavy price for his loyalty. He sacrificed his own hand in the resurrection ritual, earning a new magical silver one from Voldemort. But loyalty meant nothing to the Dark Lord. Peter was no longer useful. He became nothing more than a servant, given only the most degrading tasks. His final moments were as pathetic as the life he had lived. When he hesitated to kill Harry just for a second, his own enchanted hand, gifted by Voldemort, turned against him. It strangled him where he stood, punishing him for his moment of weakness. Peter Pettigrew died the way he had lived, powerless and alone. In the movies, this moment was erased. But in the books, it was the perfect ending for a man whose betrayals shaped the fate of the wizarding world. The Sorting Hat rarely makes mistakes. It looks deep into the soul, seeing not just what a person is, but what they could become. Yet one choice has puzzled fans for years. Why did Peter Pettigrew end up in Gryffindor? He was weak, cowardly, and desperate for protection. hardly the traits of a true Gryffindor. But what if the hat saw something the rest of the world missed? At first glance, Peter had little in common with his housemates. James Potter, Sirius Black, and Remus Lupin embodied courage in every sense. James was fearless in battle. Sirius defied his entire family for what he believed in. Remus faced his werewolf nature with quiet strength. And then there was Peter, small, nervous, always clinging to stronger friends. He seemed out of place. But was he really? Bravery isn't just about charging into battle. Sometimes it's about making terrifying choices, standing on the edge of fear and leaping anyway. And Peter did take risks. He dared to befriend James and Sirius, knowing they could turn on him at any moment. He learned to become an animagus, an incredibly difficult feat that even brilliant students would struggle with. Most of all, when Voldemort rose to power, Peter made a decision that no ordinary coward would. He betrayed his friends. It takes a certain kind of bravery to do what Peter did. It was not noble or heroic, but it was courage of a different kind, the courage to act despite fear, to take a path knowing it would change his life forever. When Sirius confronted him after James and Lily's deaths, Peter could have begged for mercy. Instead, he staged his own death, killed 12 innocent people, and vanished. A coward would have frozen. A Gryffindor found a way to survive. The Sorting Hat has seen misplaced bravery before. Neville Longbottom, on his first day, doubted he belonged in Gryffindor. He was clumsy, nervous, and frightened of almost everything, but deep inside he had a strength even he didn't recognize. Dumbledore later said, "Ubinam, it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends." Peter never stood up to his friends, but he stood up to Voldemort. He chose the Dark Lord over the people who had protected him for years. Even at the end, Peter's actions weren't dictated by pure cowardice. When Voldemort returned, Peter could have remained in hiding. He could have lived the rest of his life as a rat. But he sought out his master, knowing he might be punished for his long absence. He took the risk. And in the graveyard, during Voldemort's resurrection, he performed the ritual with trembling hands, but didn't hesitate. He cut off his own hand in the name of loyalty. The truth is, Peter wasn't a Slytherin. He wasn't cunning enough. He had no grand ambitions of power. He simply wanted safety, and he was willing to do anything to get it. That kind of desperate determination, selfish, reckless, and full of fear, was still a form of bravery. Twisted, yes, but bravery nonetheless. Some fans argue that Peter belonged in Hufflepuff. He was loyal in his own way, sticking to whoever he believed could protect him. But Hufflepuff loyalty is rooted in kindness and fairness. Peter's loyalty was survival. He didn't stay with James and Sirius because he loved them. He stayed because they made him feel important. The moment Voldemort became stronger, Peter abandoned them without hesitation. That's not Hufflepuff material. His final moment proves the Sorting Hat's choice was never wrong. In Malfoy Manor, when Peter hesitated to kill Harry, his silver hand, Voldemort's gift, turned against him. For a split second, something inside him wavered. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was the Gryffindor part of him, resurfacing after years of suppression. But by then, it was too late. His life ended in an instant, strangled by his own master's magic. Peter Pettigrew was not a hero, but he was a Gryffindor. The Sorting Hat never promised that every Gryffindor would be noble, only that they would have the potential for bravery. Peter had that potential. He just chose to use it in the worst way possible.